my story begins with that I met my man through Facebook, right? It was not like a hookup thing where we were going to hook up together. I had made a conscious decision to try to get to know people that were on my Facebook and people, because I had a page that had reached my 5,000 limit, and I had so many people following me. I mean, I had thousands of people following me, right? So I had people from other, just because it was an open page, because I'm an author, just hitting me up, talking to me and telling me they love my books, all sorts of things. And so I had made a conscious decision that I would get to know people and be more personable outside of especially book signings, that I wasn't touring and doing things like that. So I was just strolling on Facebook, and I had made an exchange with a couple of women, you know, talking and everything. But this particular day I was just strolling on Facebook, and I came upon a post of a lady that I know, and she was saying, "Oh, to find me and drop a picture," you know. And of course I knew this was about her, you know, looking for, you know, I think she was looking for her man, you know. And so me being just nosy, I went down and started looking at the pictures of the men that dropped their pictures, right? And I saw this person's picture, which is weird, because he don't even seem like that type. Like, I don't have a clue why he had this picture up there, whatever. But it was just a picture, and he had some loves by it or whatever, and some compliments. And when I saw his picture, it was like a bright light, and I was like, wow, like, yo, fine, right? So fine. And so I hit the like, but I also went and or did I don't think I even hit, but I went to his page, being nosy, right? And so I was just going through his page, looking at his pictures. And you know how you can look at somebody's picture and you see stuff, and you know, excuse me. And because I hadn't did that much, you know, I was just having fun, right? Oh, he this, he that, he that. Oh, look, you know, putting pictures, you know, together putting a story together based upon what I saw. But the only thing that happened was his name, the name that he had on his profile, threw me so much. I was like, never seen that. Is like, what does that mean? Why, like, what does that mean? Because it looked like a name, but it didn't look like a name, right? Like, it looked more like a title. So me being me and being an introvert, I literally text messaged her and said, what does your name mean? And I was like, are we friends? And what does your name mean? And I didn't know whether we was friends or not, because of so many people that follow me, but we're not technically friends on the app, right? So he was like, I'm driving, but if you give me your number, I can call you back when I can give you my undivided attention. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is a grown man I'm talking to, right? Like, you know, I'm handling my business, I'm gonna get to you and safety, but let me give you my undivided attention. So all that was good for me, right? I was like, oh, okay. So I gave him my number, and when he called, he answered my question, and we just started talking. But the weird thing about it is we began talking like we knew each other, right? He was down to earth, I was down to earth. We was just chatting like we knew each other, like had known each other for years, right? So we was talking, and you know, I found out that we weren't friends on Facebook. And so after the conversation, probably about, it had to be at least hour and a half, 2 hours. After the conversation, you know, was about to end, he was like, so can I call you again sometimes? And I said, no. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, like, I don't need no new friends. And I was dead serious, because I didn't need any new friends. Like I told you, my life was already kind of overwhelmed by followers, by people. I just felt like my space was being invaded in all sides of my life, right? And so he was like, for real? Like, you know, yo, shorty, for real? He was like, for real? And I was like, yeah, for real. And he was like, why, and I was like, because I don't need no new friends, right? This was good, the conversation, everything was good, and I was relishing in that moment, like, yo, this is good. He ain't looking for nothing, he ain't trying no funny business. That was refreshing for me, right? Because so many people and men come at you, but they always was after something. They wanted a relationship, they wanted to jump into something, they wanted to tap, all that type of stuff. And that was refreshing that he wasn't coming from that angle. So I was like, okay. So he was like, cool. So he called me back later on that day, and we talked again like forever. But in the midst of that conversation, I remember telling him, like, how do I know I'm talking to the picture that I saw? Like, how do I know this is you? Why that came in my head, I don't know. But I wanted to know, and I think what it was is because I was so intrigued by our conversations and stuff that I wanted to see, his face. I don't really know 9 times out of 10 where the whole thing came from, that I literally said that, but he said, do you have Google Meet, the Dual Google or Google Duo, whatever, whichever way it goes, right? And I said, nope. And he was like, all right, I'm going to send you the link and you download it. So I downloaded the link when he sent it to me. And then we did Google Duo. And he was and is as handsome as the picture was. And he ended up admitting to me that he was like, you are more beautiful than your pictures. So, yeah. So, anyway, after that, we ended up talking every day, all day, because I was working from home. I had a work from home job. Well, I might not have been working at the time, just doing books or whatever, but it was the beginning of the pandemic, literally, or the pandemic had started 3 months prior to or whatever, and we ended up dating that way. So it didn't start off dating. We talked every day, all day, every day, just, it was what it was. Then he asked me one day, he was like, you want to watch a movie together, while he was on the road? And I was like, oh yeah, he had parked or whatever. So we started dating that way. We started doing movie nights. We started eating together. He would wake me up, say good night and all of it was visual through Google Duo. And that's how our story began. And I'm gonna tell you how we ended up moving to Georgia together, how we went through so many things in between the time, but that is the beginning. So three and a half months, I think, of dating virtually. I met him for the first time. He ended up coming to Richmond, where I live, Richmond, Virginia, where he was residing at the time as well. I found that out. That was crazy. Didn't have any clue that he actually lived in Richmond too until like sometimes in our conversation, some ways in. So, and yeah, I went to meet him at his truck. The first meeting was absolutely amazing. From all the talking and dating virtually, he gave me a nice long kiss, and yeah, that was how we met, and that is how our relationship started. Stay tuned for part 2.